So I got a response recently, totally worth your time, very intelligent stuff, soft-spoken guy, can speak very well, and really has a good head on his shoulders. Link in the description. To catch you up to speed, he's talking about the beginning of the universe and whether or not it was always there, or at least some aspect of it, or did it spontaneously come out of nothingness. He poses us with the consideration that in a place, in a state of void, in a state of non-existence, we could imply or infer that there exists no rules. So there's nothing to say that something can't just spontaneously come out of nothing. He counters that with the position that I have to now adopt, because I think it's reasonable, in saying that possibility can only be understood in terms of what follows from an existing property of a thing. A property of a thing that exists. For example, this is my example anyway, so don't blame him if this sucks. You can jump, a man can jump a few feet into the air, but a man cannot jump from the surface of this planet to the surface of the moon, at least in the time that this video is being recorded. And the reason for that, the reason it is not possible for the man to jump from the surface of the earth to the surface of the moon, is because in the properties of the human, of the contemporary human. Change the properties of the contemporary human, and perhaps jumping to the surface of the moon would be possible. But as it stands, it's not possible because the property is not there. Wipe out all of existence and you effectively wipe out all possibilities, because you wipe out all properties. With nothing existing, there are no properties. With no properties, you cannot derive any kind of possibilities. So this idea that nothing exists, therefore something can spontaneously exist, does not logically follow. So with that said, we're left in a situation in which we have to say something is eternal. It's either the physical universe or it's God that acts as an antecedent to the physical universe. Here's then the second consideration, the part that I would like to add to the conversation that he began, this guy that responded, that you need to click the link to check out his video, because he is who this title, or this title is for. Yeah. The question of the eternal physical world always comes to a discussion about infinite regression. I almost forgot there for a second. The problem with infinite regression, or the problem of infinite regression, is as follows. If we are to assume that right now it is but a physical state, we can ask the question, what brought about this physical state? And the scientist, anyway, can tell us that it came about by an antecedent. What is that antecedent? That antecedent, the scientist says, is yet another physical state. What's the problem here? Characteristically, any physical state is going to necessitate a physical state antecedent. So, if you describe, or rather explain this state by means of just another state that has its own necessary component that's not being expressed, you are not demonstrating sufficient cause for this given moment. Without sufficient cause, we have a problem that we call the problem of infinite regression, meaning that with every antecedent that you give as an explanation as to why this moment exists, you're always giving us in part, an insufficient answer, because you're always sneaking something in to the equation that is left unanswered. The alternative, that the first physical state, that there was such a thing as a first physical state, and that its antecedent was something that upon which all physicality is contingent, meaning God or some non-physical entity of some type. We call it non-physical because it would necessarily have some different characteristics in which it would not necessarily need an antecedent. When people say, what caused the creator, or what designed the maker, or these kinds of things, these questions are misplaced because it assumes the nature of the physical world in concert with a non-physical entity. As soon as we start talking about non-physical entities, the gloves come off, all bets are off, and we really are dealing with something in which we don't know a whole hell of a lot about. Even to the point where it would be possible that it could exist without an antecedent. Contrary, that is, to how this universe physically operates. What you decide and who you think wins is ultimately already determined, but it's up to you to figure out whether or not you're believing the right side. Check out that video. See ya.